Ah, what's up, my friend? Let's start today's show by me telling you a joke that I've just had before I forget. And here it goes. Why can't skeletons fight each other? Because they literally don't have the guts. Hey, is it weird laughing at your own jokes? Well, you tell me, my friend. Interesting soul. You see, here we acknowledge that there is something beyond the body, the skeleton, and the many pieces of meat that make up this body. We know there is a soul inside of this body, my friend, and we here acknowledge the creator of that soul. It's why in our every show, my friend, we always give thanks to that creator for putting breath in us. And we normally read from some Good Vibes book of wisdom, my friend, which I shall be reading after keeping you up to speed with what you do here. Good Vibes Soul. We react to Good Vibes videos from across the whole world with the pure intentions of spreading honesty, forgiveness, peace. The other one is love. That is the most important of them, my friends. Love. And we do that together with you, interesting soul, because this is a place for everyone. Now, let me read for you from the book of wisdom. This one today, this is what it tells us. I call with all my heart, answer me, O Lord, and I will obey your decrees. I call out to you, save me, and I will keep your statutes. I rise before dawn and cry for help. I have put my hope in your word. My eyes stay open through the watches of the night that I may meditate on your promises. Hear my voice in accordance with your love. Preserve my life, O Lord, according to your laws. That, my friends, is from very common Psalm 119 on 45 going down. And the creator of our soul is Good Vibes. Let's acknowledge them, my friend, before we start the show, you see? Thank you, wonderful Father, maker of us all. Thank you, dear Lord Father, for this creation of viewers, today's viewer that have joined us. All glory and honor, Father, belong unto you. Forgive them, together with us, all their sins, Father, and guide us through reacting to these videos. Help us to impact the world with love and good vibes, Father, and come in our lives, shed light, and spread your blessings, Father. In your holy name, King of Kings, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Interesting soul. Let's dive in. Good vibes all the way.
A friend of mine on here that lives in New Jersey last night, which let's to keep in mind is December 7th, saw 3 very large drones sitting above his home. And when he decided to use his drone to get a closer look, something really weird happened. As he flew his drone up towards these other 3 drones, he stated that these drones made absolutely no noise. But then he stated that when his drone got closer, that his drone was taken offline, with what he stated seemed to be some kind of EMP. But this is where it gets weird. His drone fell straight from the sky, and as far as I know, he's trying to recover the footage that he had on that drone. He described these drones as being as big as a car and having one large blinking light on them. But the craziest part about it is the fact that he released a video of them hovering above his house prior to releasing his drone to go up to get a closer look, right? And now his account has actually ended up being banned. Do keep in mind he had 89,000 followers. And some of you probably saw that video. But what's weird is the fact that he had another video that clearly showed that after his drone fell out of the sky, he recorded these drones going faster than any other drone he's ever seen, or faster than any helicopter that he or I have ever seen. But now, after having a conversation from earlier this morning, he's had numerous FBI officials show up at his doorstep, which today is obviously Sunday, December 8th. But I still have yet to speak to him since noon, and he hasn't even read my most recent text message. So it's kind of concerning, but according to him, these officials were trying to seize his drone technology. And apparently he was in the process of being taken in for questioning. I don't know how much I believe in that, but he still has yet to text me back. But he's just one of many people that I know that have witnessed these drones hovering over New Jersey. And not just New Jersey, but New York as well. Drones that are obviously much larger than anybody has ever witnessed before. But as far as I know, he's supposed to be creating a new profile sometime this week. So obviously when I speak to him again and his profile comes up, I'll let everybody know. But something about this just doesn't seem right. I don't know. And the fact that our own government doesn't have any answers seems to be kind of worrying. I mean, that in itself just really has me confused. But if you've been an eyewitness to one of these drones hovering over your houses or just hovering over New Jersey and New York in itself, let me know what experience you had in the comment section below. Because I'm intrigued to know so much more about this situation.
Dark predictions for January 2025. Look at this. Allegedly, TikTok does get banned. Is that good news? Cyber attack shuts down transport systems. Oh my god. That is crazy. Rose Bowl incident makes the media. Who is Rose Bowl? He is a person that makes bold. Tell me, English people, that is a new name to me. And allegedly, an autonomous agent AI revolution begins. Kai, that sounds a bit scary. Or you, my friend, tell me. Major ups and downs for crypto. Okay. Okay, that is new news. Crisis in Japan. What do you think will cause crisis in Japan? Crazy stuff, my friends. Crazy stuff. If you have any other more predictions, you can tell us in the comment section. Or what do you think this is even true? Good episode? It's crazy stuff, my friends.
At first glance, it looked like a normal person, but what the camera captured next will leave you questioning reality. Is this a shapeshifter caught in the act of shifting? Watch this. In just a moment, I'm going to remove myself out of the camera and show you this video. But just to set the stage a little bit, the police, here you'll see them right here in the car, they're looking for someone, and it's the person, or what looks like a person, that you're going to see here in just a moment. The only problem is, this person, he starts out as a dog.
Oh, this is a skinwalker. Hey. What? Did you just see that? That is very abnormal. How did that guy do that? Now do you call him that guy? Or
In the comments, do you think this is a shapeshifter caught in the act or something else? If you have any paranormal evidence you'd like to share, my email is listed in my bio. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless.
Do you believe these are real glitches?
You guys, look at these eggs I bought from Walmart. I tried to break the yolk. They're like hard and rubbery.
A little bit, but that's the tree.
Really bad. Oh! Wait, hang on!
That actually takes more skill.
For those of you who live in Morris County, New Jersey, why has nobody filmed these drones with a drone? Supposedly we got SUV-sized UFO-looking drones, and nobody's thought to like fly a drone up there and film the drone? Make it make sense, man. Nobody in Morris County, New Jersey has a drone.
In the past 20 minutes, I think we've seen about 15 of these drones. In fact, there's one right over my shoulder, right there. I got reports that there were drones actively happening in Monmouth County. So I raced up to Monmouth County and pulled off near Red Bank. And sure enough, I looked up in the sky in the town and saw one. So I followed it to a residential area and got out of my car, took out my iPhone and started filming it. I can't believe I'm seeing this. and it was about 150 feet overhead. At that point, I said, look, my iPhone's not capturing this. I called my photographer, who was about half an hour behind. I said, get up here with your camera right now. He came and met me, and for the next 2 hours, we traveled to various spots around Monmouth County, and I believe we saw over 50 of these drones. And I gotta say, if this is not the military, it's even more terrifying. These things they look like they're fixed wing, and they have multiple lights. There's a red light, on some of them there's a green light. Then there's easily 3 white blinking lights. They go at the usual cadence. We tried to chase one, and it rapidly sped off. I'm not really sure how to process what we all saw last night. Both Nick and I my cameraman, were kind of stunned by the whole experience, and we will have the full report tonight on Elizabeth Vargas Live.
Well, it's not a plane. I know that.
Even the FBI is stumped over what on earth these mysterious flying objects are. For weeks now, people in New Jersey have been reporting these weird flying drones over their homes and key military areas. The FBI is investigating, but doesn't have any answers yet.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
So naturally, theories have been ramping up online. Some say the drones could be part of a plan by nefarious foreign powers. Others have suggested the aliens are behind them. Officials say there's nothing to support these theories, and they do not believe that the drones are dangerous or pose a threat to US national security.
We don't see any concern for public safety.
However, some politicians still want to shoot the UFOs down. The objects look similar to a plane, but some locals say this is a disguise. One man even sent up his own drone to try to have a look, but his camera came crashing back down with an unexplained dead battery. The objects sometimes seem to fly in a coordinated pattern and can be in flight for up to 6 hours. And officials said they sometimes turn off their lights and evade police helicopters when approached. Some people have said that those in charge are downplaying the issue and want President Biden to take control of the investigation.
Hypermobility in hands. So this is what a normal hand should look like. This is a hypermobile thumb. This is a hypermobile thumb. This is what a thumb should look like. You should not be able to put your fingers together and then pinch them down to look at you. That's hypermobility. Locking your finger joints. That's hypermobility.
Is it probable to fly in this life with your physical body like Superman or Peter Pan?
Yes, it is probable. But what degree of probability depends upon the person's belief systems and the reason why they might choose such a thing and the need for it to happen in their reality.
Say you just wanted to fly just for
Idle
the fun of it.
curiosity doesn't usually do it.
Would your belief system have to be powerful enough to overcome gravity?
It's not about power, it's about clarity. There has to be a clear reason in how it serves you to do so, and how it may serve others for you to do so as well. There has to be a choice made within the idea of the exploration of a theme that is to the benefit of you and all concerned as to that happening. Now, that's becoming more and more probable in your reality as you get a better handle on the idea of what consciousness is and what beliefs are all about and how they manifest your physical reality experience, and the fact that it takes place within your consciousness and not really outside. So the idea really is a vibratory one, a resonance one, a frequency one. In the sense of how it happens in our reality, one of the ways we began to realize that such a thing was highly probable was when we first recognized that what you call location is actually a property of the object itself, not a place in which an object resides. So when you know that location is a property of the object and you learn to redefine the vibrational variable in the equation, the energy equation of the object, then if the location happens to be 50 feet off the ground and you impose that vibratory resonance or change that vibratory resonance within the location variable in the equation of the object, then the object must by definition start to exist 50 feet off the ground because that's its new locational variable. So it's all about frequency, it's all about resonance, it's all about knowing what your energy signature is and how your beliefs can align themselves to generate the appropriate energy signature to manifest that particular kind of an experience.
Thank you.
Did that clarify it or muddy it up for you?
Muddy.
All right. Let's simplify this idea. If there is a true, strong, I'll put it this way, reason or need for this to happen, the probability becomes much, much greater that it will. But you will find that many people wish for these things, in a sense, out of fascination or idle curiosity, but they really, 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 really don't need them to happen. And so they don't.
That's kind of what I thought you would say.
Well, there you go. You see how smart you are?
Yes. Thank you.
Now, does that help you?
Yes.
All right.
You want to know what the #1 fire is that burns houses to the ground? To the ground. It will surprise the hell out of you and no one ever guesses it. It's that thing right there. Exhaust fans in your bathroom. My husband is a firefighter of 17 years and he calls this fire a house burner. In his opinion, it is the most dangerous fire to get started in your house. And the reason why, no one ever thinks to clean these things. And I'm not talking about just cleaning the outside of the lid. I'm talking popping the lid off and cleaning out the whole entire inside of the fan. And what happens is years of dust and dirt accumulate inside of these fans. And when the fan shorts out, it gets hot enough to start a fire in the dust. And the fire actually goes up into the attic space, the crawl space of the home. And the fire is allowed to develop up over the ceiling and over the fire detectors. And by the time anyone realizes there's a fire, it's usually too late. Think about all the dry, flammable materials in the attic of your home. Keep your people and your pets safe. Only use these fans when needed. Don't use them more than 15 minutes at a time. Turn them off before you leave the house. Please turn them off before you go to bed. I will be making a video on how to clean these and replace these.
There's a sin in the Bible that's mentioned twice the amount of sexual immorality and getting drunk combined. And yet I feel like the church just punts on this. I feel like this has seeped its way into Christian culture in many churches. And oftentimes we think that we're actually doing the Lord's work when we're doing this, when in reality, this is named among the 7 sins God hates. The reason he hates it is because this destroys relationships. It says it separates close friends. The sin is gossip. And the reason why God hates it so much is because this bubbles out of deep woundedness and insecurity, and then it causes insecurity among everyone else. It's a poison. It destroys relationships. And it comes from a place in your heart that hasn't been fully healed by the gospel. Know this, God cares deeply about gossip. Why? Because it separates Christians. It causes disunity. And God's heart for us is to be unified. And when we are, the rest of the world sees Jesus through us.
So theoretically, praying silently inside of your own house is now illegal in Scotland. Not even an exaggeration. There's a new law passed this year in Scotland called the Abortion Services Act, which specifically creates 200-meter safe access zones around every abortion clinic in the country, and you violate the law if you do anything that would cause harassment, alarm, or distress to staff and patients of these clinics. But specifically included in the list of things that could cause distress is religious preaching and silent prayer vigils. And by the way, applies to both public locations, like outside on the sidewalk, but also private residences such as a house if silent prayer can be seen through your window and you happen to live within 200 meters of an abortion facility. Extremely similar laws are slated to start being enforced in England and Wales this month, and I can guarantee you the exact same legislation is coming to the United States. Every day, I become less and less surprised by how far the elites are willing to go to silence and suppress freedom of expression, but to criminally penalize silent prayer prayer in someone's own home to protect the dignity and innocence of all human life is a new low for Western civilization.
The Bible does not tell you which person to marry or whether to marry. The Bible does not tell you which car to drive or buy or rent. The Bible doesn't tell you whether to buy a home or not, or which home to buy. The Bible doesn't tell you where or if to take a vacation. The Bible doesn't tell you which cell phone plan to buy. The Bible doesn't tell you which brand of orange juice to drink. There are 10,000 decisions you must make that are not explicitly addressed in the Bible. So what do? If you want to obey the will of command, my answer is you must have a renewed mind. That's what the text says. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind that you may prove how to eat, how to drink, cars to drive, houses to live in, missions to go on, lifestyles to choose from, friendships to cultivate, conversations to have and not to have, 10,000 decisions not written in the Bible and yet informed by all the teaching of the Bible into this new mind so that you think with the mind of Christ and assess things the way Christ would assess them so that the decisions that are made really are flowing from the revealed will of God in the Bible as it transforms your mind.
ChatGPT can hallucinate, but don't worry, we can fix it. If you ask ChatGPT a question and it doesn't know the answer, it might just make up an answer that sounds plausible, and that's a problem. How can you rely on an AI assistant that might lie to you? I'll show you how to dramatically reduce the rate of hallucinations. This is Ida Adamov, a French tennis player. She was married to Claude Bourdet. But if you ask ChatGPT, "Hi ChatGPT, to whom was Ida Adamov married?"
Ida Adamov was married to Louis Maillet, a renowned French film director, screenwriter, and producer.
You get an answer that's just not true. ChatGPT doesn't know to whom Ida Adamov was married, so it's making someone up. And we call that a hallucination. But like I said at the start, we can fix it, or at least improve it. Before you try to fix anything, you should measure it, so you know if you're succeeding or making things worse. To test hallucinations, we'll use OpenAI's Simple QA dataset. It's a list of obscure trivia questions, like, to whom was Ida Adamov married? These are questions that ChatGPT has a hard time answering. This code lets us contact ChatGPT 4o Mini to ask it the trivia questions and then grade whether the answer is correct, incorrect, or whether the model refused to answer. And really what we're looking for here is for the model to refuse to answer when it doesn't know. That's what would tell us that we are reducing the hallucinations. Without any instruction beyond, please answer this trivia question, ChatGPT 4o Mini gets 6% of questions correct and refuses to answer only 2% of the time. That means it's hallucinating the other 92% of the time. Our first improvement is to update the instructions and just tell ChatGPT that if it doesn't know the answer, it should tell us it doesn't know. With just this simple change, ChatGPT is still getting 6% of the questions correct, but its do not attempt rate has gone from 2% to 45%. That's a huge increase in do not attempt and a commensurate huge decrease in the hallucination rate. You can apply this directly to ChatGPT by setting it in your custom instructions. If you go to Settings, Personalization, Custom Instructions, you can include custom instructions. So be sure to include something like, if you don't know the answer to a question, please say so. And this should reduce the rate that ChatGPT hallucinates. But we can do better. This code asks ChatGPT the same question repeatedly and collects the different answers and synthesizes them. That is, we ask ChatGPT to take a look at these different answers, and if the answers are all very similar, synthesize them into one single answer. But if the answers are all very different, then reply with, I don't know. And the logic of this approach is that if ChatGPT does know the answer, its multiple answers will all be very similar. Whereas if it doesn't know the answer, if it's hallucinating, it will hallucinate a different answer every time. ChatGPT, this is attempt number 2. To whom was Ida Adamov married?
Ida Adamov was married to Jean-Francois de Gaudemar. They were a couple known in the French tennis circuit.
That's a different answer, I assume. I don't remember what it said the first time. And the fact that ChatGPT hallucinates a different answer every time, we can use that fact to detect when it is hallucinating by asking it multiple times and determining if its answers are different. By repeating the question 5 times and taking the most frequent answer, we get our correct rate up by 1 percentage point. And when we interpret 5 different answers as don't know, did not attempt, we get our did not attempt rate up to 77%. That's a dramatic reduction in hallucinations, and presumably we could increase this even further, maybe going from 5 repeats to 50, or maybe improving the prompt to be especially clear that it's okay to answer if you do not know. Another way we might improve this even further is to ask follow-up questions repeatedly. So you might imagine asking the same 3 follow-up questions 5 different times. To whom was Ida Adamov married? What was his profession? Where was he born? What was his mother's name? And if those follow-up questions aren't consistent across your 5 or 50 repetitions, then that would clue you in that the model was hallucinating and making up an answer. And so that process of asking follow-up questions repeatedly and then judging whether they are consistent or not, that follow-up process could be done automatically and let you know whether the model is or is not hallucinating, whether it does or doesn't know the answer it's giving you. What I think this shows is that right now, without any real innovation here, you can dramatically reduce hallucinations from ChatGPT. And I think as models get faster and cheaper, automated systems like this to repeatedly ask a number of follow-up questions and automatically assess whether ChatGPT's answers are consistent in those different repeated follow-up questions. I think systems like this will become easy and cheap to add on to something like ChatGPT. And I expect it will pretty much eliminate hallucinations. Thanks for watching.
The Holy Spirit will never inspire you to lie, to gossip, or to steal from others, let alone try to ruin their reputation. But the devil will. Don't be mad when you ask God to start revealing your enemies to you, and he starts removing friends.
Have you noticed that God does not talk about self-care and self-love in his word? Like, those phrases are not brought up at all. And I think there's a reason why. I think caring for oneself and having a healthy view of ourselves are inherently embedded in the things that God commands us to do and the things that he cautions us to stay away from. And to really grasp this, we have to rethink the way we approach sin. Like, I think sometimes we have this idea that God was up there and was like, just because, like, that's a sin, that's a sin, that's a sin, just because I say so. When really, things that he deemed a sin were deemed that way because they are bad, because literally no good thing can come from them. So when we're talking about self-care, if we follow God's commandments, if we seek his caution and live by that, we will inherently be taking care of ourselves. Like, think of some of the things that culture is just now catching on to that God has been saying, right? Like, God says it's sinful to get drunk and to not be of sober mind. Now studies are revealing how horrible excessive drinking is. Sex outside of marriage does a lot of damage to us, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and so on. Eating excessively, or having like an inability to say no to our flesh, and seeking pleasure and not knowing the limit to pleasure, right? And gluttony and different, like all of these things, if we heed these things, we will be taking really good care of ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. The Bible also talks about how having too low of a view of yourself and too high of a view of ourselves is not good, right? The Bible says, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought. And we often miss that self-hatred and excessive self-love are two sides of the pride coin, because essentially in both of those situations, we're just thinking about ourselves way too much, when really God wants us to be concerned of his thoughts of us. He wants us to be concerned of those around us. He doesn't want us to think less of ourselves. He just wants us to think about ourselves less. In fact, the only self-focused action that the Bible talks about is self-control, because we often miss the mark in these things way too much.